underdogs to be at this stage on the competition, with one of them having the opportunity to get to the Champions League final, that's exciting. I think that's exciting for soccer fans or football fans, whatever you want to call it, around the world, because they get to see an underdog story happen in real life, which is great to watch. And I think for Pochettino, I mean, he has to have options now, right? I mean, Juventus was knocked out, a team that was expected to get to the Champions League final. What a matchup that would have been. Ronaldo and Messi in Madrid for the Champions League final. How great would that have been? But it didn't happen. And there's no blame to really put on Ronaldo. He scored in both legs. He put the team in position to get there. Giorgio Chiellini wasn't available, so you can blame it on that, sure. Wojciech Szczesny, he's not... I would say Juventus bailed him out in the league more times than not. He's a great keeper. He's not a top keeper for a top club. And I think that was shown over the two legs. Particularly in the first leg. I mean, you can't give up a goal like that where it bends around and he either he couldn't see it or couldn't anticipate it, which either or, that's on him for putting himself in a bad position to not see that ball. And I don't know, it's unbelievable to me. I think on the other side, you look at the other teams that won, respectively, they were expected to win. Barcelona, I mean, there's not a lot to talk about. 4-0 over two legs, 3-0 in their matchup yesterday. I mean, it's expected, right? You expect them to win. You have Lionel Messi, who's still in his prime, still killing it, still really good. But the big question now is how will Liverpool and Barcelona fare? I think that's going to be an exciting matchup. I think it's going to be a high-scoring output. I mean, what does Barcelona have, or what does Liverpool have to stop Lionel Messi? Virgil van Dijk is arguably the best player in the Premier League. So you have that force. I think he's 6'5", 6'6", but can move so smoothly and is dangerous on set plays, which you have an aging Gerard Piqué marking him. I think I'd give it easily to Van Dijk in a heading situation like that. Look, I mean, it really comes down to who has the better defense. And I think coaching, it matters. This is Ernesto Valverde's toughest test yet as a manager. He's had it easy in La Liga because Real Madrid and Atletico Madrid have been beating up on each other and screwing up at the same time. And yet they've been challenged a little bit in the league. And on the other side for Liverpool, they're in the middle of a great battle to win the league. For the first time ever in EPL history, more than likely, there will be a team that finishes with 90 points and doesn't win the league. 90 points usually takes care of the league, and it will not this year. Or at least it doesn't seem like it will. You know, I think where does Liverpool stand as who they're going to start today? I mean, you put Origi on today. Obviously, it seemed that Klopp felt like they were going to be in control of this game. But obviously, you do start Firmino up top with Salah and Mane, right? You do that. Milner, Fabinho, and Wijnaldum. You know, do you put Naby Keita in there? Because I think he's a much faster player, I would say, than either Milner or Wijnaldum, and it's going to track back because Jordi Alba is going to be great on the driving it up the line. Probably take out Wijnaldum. And then on the back end, I mean, you have a young back line. Yes, they have a lot of potential, and Van Dijk's the leader clearly of that defense. But how are Trent and Alexander-Arnold and Andrew Robertson going to fare? I think that's a fair question. because they're going to be facing a tough task in Lionel Messi, Ousmane Dembele, and Luis Suarez. I don't know. I'm excited about all of these matchups. I can't. It's hard to pick otherwise. How this is going to play out. I mean, this is exciting for Barcelona. I mean, look, they have not been challenged offensively or defensively in quite some time, and this is their biggest test yet. How is Sergio Roberto going to fare against Sadio Mane? How do you expect Lletget and Piqué to deal with Firmino? Because clearly Liverpool's outside backs can deal it inside and find their target, as we saw today with 2 great heading goals. Who do you start at this point in the midfield? Is Arthur going to get the nod? Or is Vidal more experienced and knows what to do in big game situations, and are you going to give him the start? These little components as to whether or not players start or sit, it makes a difference. It'll make a difference in these series anyway. And you know what that means? It comes down to coaching. So again, if you're not a soccer fan, I get it. This segment was not for you. But if you even have any interest in soccer, watch these next 4 games, because these might be the most exciting yet, on top of what we had in a great series. I think if I'm early pickings right now, right? I mean, I'm not so sure as to what's going to happen, but I think Barcelona is probably going to be the favorite in that series against Liverpool. Slight favorite. Not overwhelming. I think it's going to be a lot closer than people think. I think it's the first probably to 8 goals maybe wins this series. 8. And in the other series, I mean, it's really going to be tough because Ajax passing, and they can shred this Tottenham team. But for some reason, if you don't kill them off, they will be back. And they do have one. If they have 1 goal in them, it will come. Whether it's in the form of Llorente, Son Heung-min, Lucas Moura. You have a lot of players there that could make this a game. And clearly the magic at the new stadium, at the new Tottenham Hotspur Stadium, I think that's what it's called now, the magic continues, and it's exciting. I think you have the perfect... Well, we obviously wanted the 4 biggest teams with Manchester City and Juventus taking on Liverpool and Barcelona. Yes, the star power is there, but I think the more exciting story is who will take on either Liverpool or Barcelona. Who will be that underdog that will be there for maybe I believe it's the first time for Ajax since 1997 when they won it. And I don't know. I don't think Tottenham has ever made it this far in the competition. I have to look it up, but it's been quite some time. But there's excitement all around, I would say, in the world of soccer, and I think this is good. This is great for teams that spend so much money on players. Great. But they have to fit within the confines of your team, which these last 4 teams have done. It's not... Some signings aren't the best signings. They aren't the sexiest signings, but do they make a difference in the team? And that's what matters. That's the only thing that matters. Can you make it work? Can you put them together to win a game? So we'll take a short break. I mean, it's again, this first segment's very exciting. Great. So up next, I kind of just want to talk about whatever I come up with because I don't have anything. I didn't really plan on this. I mean, we could talk about the LA Lakers, sure. I could talk about that. I could just look up a different topic on Twitter and figure it out because it's not really. The NBA is great. Don't get me wrong. But Major League Baseball's Tom's topic, and I don't know a lot about that. I could look up, hockey. That's fine. I could look again. Just look it up. What's on Twitter? That's typically what I do anyway, and kind of figure it out and say, okay, what is going on in the world? Yeah, we'll figure it out. Give me about 30 seconds to a minute, and we will get going. So here's the weekend reminder, just a quick song here on the Spicy Sports Show with Sam. New format on Spreaker Radio. And welcome back. Again, Spicy Sports with Sam on Spreaker. Trying this new format of where I just try to interject casual conversations into sports topics. The first topic wasn't necessarily an interjection I could go in and just kind of figure out, like, the coaching aspect, I would say, is fascinating to me still. Again, I'm still amazed as to how Ajax and Tottenham got to this point. Because typically big money teams come out on top, and that's how it always has been. And I'm glad that, again, as much as I'm rooting for a big money team, self-admittedly, like Real Madrid, that's my squad, there are other teams that don't need the money or don't want to spend the money, yet can build a team within the confines of their budget, which is great to see. Speaking of money, oh my goodness. Again, Twitter sometimes is fascinating to me because it has its broad spectrum of everything, right? Like I have a couple followers on there. I wouldn't say a lot. It's still in the double digits. It's not triple digits at all. But in that spectrum, what I have found, you find a bunch of different things, right? You find either you find good stuff, you find bad stuff, you find things about politics, arguing one way or another. You find breaking news, social things, and all of it's great. It brings a great discussion, and it brings out the best and the worst in people. It really does. I think that, and I mentioned this time and time again, the best about social media is that it's connected people together. But the worst thing about it is that it's also connected people in some respects. I think connected people to a point where it's just not healthy conversation. So that's where I think it's kind of been an issue. But, again, as we continue to evolve as people and try to understand, look, not everyone's going to get everything and understand every point of view. It's tough, I would say. I think it's tough to judge a person just on their politics, and yet people do. Myself included, don't get me wrong. I've definitely been someone who has, and I try to curve that because I know that isn't who they are, or at least that isn't the whole picture, right? There's a lot of good people that voted one way. And again, it makes me sound like Trump himself. There's a lot of good people on both different sides. But it's really true. There are people who we just have a couple of differences. And that's, again, that's fine. But here's I think, one thing that, and a great transition, by the way. Here's one thing that I think we can fully agree on. According to TMZ, the Robert Kraft, owner of the New England Patriots, the naked spa video is to be released, which I think is a universal no. Are you kidding me? Nah, come on, dude. Like, I don't, like, who is reviewing that video and saying, you know what, this would be a great thing to release? No. And it's funny, the top comments on here is a dude wearing glasses that are spiked and kind of putting them on. Nope. You have the Ryan Reynolds gif, but why? And you have a bunch of people saying no, a bunch of puking emojis, Jim Carrey gifs. I think universally we can agree that this is it's a little weird, right?